Hugh Greenwood left quite an impact on Lobo basketball. He graduated with numbers that at the time ranked in the top 10 in program history in minutes played, assists, and three-point field goals. One of the all-time fan favorites to play at the world-famous pit in Albuquerque. Now the former Lobo is out to make a name for himself in another sport thousands of miles away from the Duke City. Now joining us here on the Mountain West Network from Adelaide, Australia is Hugh Greenwood. Hugh, appreciate you making some time with the time change. I appreciate you making a few moments here on the Mountain West Network. Let's talk about you graduating from New Mexico. You sign as a professional basketball player in Australia, but you push that aside to play Australian rules football. Take me through that decision process.
Yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind. Obviously, graduating from UNM was a bittersweet feeling. You get so accustomed and so comfortable in an environment for so long, 4 years, it goes like that, but you just get a familiarity and then you basically get thrown out into the real world. Fortunately enough, I was able to continue my sporting career, initially playing basketball, which was always a dream for me, and I think any athlete is to play professionally. So I got given that opportunity, and then after a couple of weeks in Perth, this AFL offer came into fruition, and basically it was almost too good to turn down. Some things didn't quite work out with basketball. Obviously, I had some NBA workouts. Olympics were around the corner, didn't quite make the national team this year. So footy, which is the biggest sport in Australia, presented itself and almost was too good to turn down. And the club that I've signed with Adelaide's fantastic, and yeah, it's been one of the best decisions I've made.
Now, it's not a total reach, you playing Australian rules football. You did as a kid growing up. In fact, you were named one of the best under 13 players in southern Tasmania during your youth years growing up. How long did it take you to get back up to speed? Was it, as they say, like riding a bicycle? Did you jump right in, or did you have to kind of relearn things and get back up to speed?
I wish it was that easy, but it certainly hasn't been, that's for sure. I'm still learning. Every day for me is I'm learning something new. I mean, when you haven't played the game in 8 or 9 years, almost 9 years since I played my first game, so much changes. The game evolves. It's the same with any sport. The game evolves over a period of time. So coming in, I had expectations and assumed it would be the way it was when I used to play, but the game's completely changed. So I'd like to say that I've got a grasp on it, and I certainly have, but I've still got a very, very long way to go. And that's the fun of it. Basketball just got to a point where I was just doing the same thing every day, but now I'm coming into a footy environment and I'm learning something new every day. I'm looking forward to coming to work and doing something different. So it's certainly exciting, but certainly very challenging.
Now, you see highlights on ESPN or sports broadcasts all over the country, and you see this game and you say, man, these guys are tough. How rough are these games when you're between the lines?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Cullen Neal actually tagged me on a video probably 2 or 3 days ago of some guy just cleaning up another bloke. So it is a very brutal, very physical sport. I know, the Americans, they have a crack at it because we don't wear pads. We just go out there and we just hit each other. So, and it's not coming from head to head. You can get tackled from just about any direction. Some big bodies are out there as well. So it's a very physical sport. But it's also very competitive and very fun to play too. It's quite a skillful game. It's not like rugby. I know a lot of Americans assume AFL or Aussie rules as rugby, so it's a completely different sport. It's almost very, very hard to describe. It's like soccer and rugby, but it's almost everything combined into one sport.
I would imagine you had to change your body composition. Basketball is physical and it's very demanding cardiovascularly, but I would imagine things had to change for your body as you enter a very tough sport, arguably the toughest sport in the world.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's the thing, that the game's so physical, so obviously you want to be strong to be able to take all those hits you get every day. But in a game, you can run up to, I know some guys run 8 or 9, 10 miles a game. So not only are you getting hit and knocked around, but you've got to be able to cover an amazing amount of ground. So my body's completely changed in basketball. Been in that point guard in the States, I wasn't the quickest, so I relied on my strength and my bulk. But now I've come back to footy, I've got to be able to run and run and run. So I've sort of changed my body type, dropped 10 pounds, and feel great. Obviously a long way to go. In basketball, it's more of an up and down game, whereas footy, you're covering a lot of oval. So yeah, it's challenging, but I'm getting there.
Now, you have a family history in this particular sport. Your grandfather, a legendary player in the 1950s. How much did the way that he played the game have an impact on this decision, you playing Australian rules football?
Yeah, it was big. He was always, he always supported me and my sister and all our cousins, whatever sport we chose, and obviously my parents as well. My mum was a basketballer, so he had a soft spot for basketball. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but I know that he would be pretty pumped when I signed my footy contract. He'd be pretty upset that I didn't sign with his old club, Melbourne, which is my nan's favourite team as well. I bought her a scarf for Christmas and she still hasn't worn it. She's still Melbourne through and through, but I'll try and get in to wear it at some point, hopefully when I get my first senior game. But no, in the meantime, yeah, he did a lot for me when I was playing junior footy. Obviously, he was a legend, and we played completely different positions, played opposite end of the ground. But his nickname was Trunky. He was built like a tree trunk. He's just to run through people. So he was a legend. Won 3 Super Bowls basically. So he's a legend.
Great inspiration for sure. You were a part of a great run at New Mexico as a basketball player. 3 conference championships. When you graduated, you had the conference record for most conference games played with 65. What stands out to you when you look back on your time as a Lobo?
Just how hard that was. I mean, obviously my senior year was so difficult, and then just looking at the league this year, I know that the standard wasn't as high, but just how hard it is to win. And just looking back, I came into the year, my first year as a freshman, and won the tournament and the regular season. And I thought it was just going to be like that every year, and it was for a little while. But then got to my senior year and just how hard it was to back it up every single night. I'm very, very lucky with the coaches and support network that we had, my teammates, obviously a few guys playing in the league. So, I fell into a very, very good situation. And obviously, like I said, it's probably the best 4 years of my life. Obviously, the championships are great, but playing the pit every night, the embrace from the community, the friends that I've still made. We've got a group message with Alex and Cam and Tony and Kendall that we chat with every day. So you build those relationships, and I chat with Coach Neil and Coach Orford and Corey. I was in Corey Orford's got invited to be in his wedding. So just the relationships and networks that you build. It goes beyond that. New Mexico told me from day one that they were like a family, and they still continue to be like that 4 or 5 years on.
That was evident from day one, the tight-knit group that you had, whether it be with Tony Snell or Alex Kirk, Kendall Williams, Cam Bairstow. You talk to them, you say almost every day. What do you guys talk about?
I don't know if I can say on here. We say a lot of it's just talking smack. We screenshot a lot of things we see on social media and just flick it around. And we always give Tony a hard time because he's such a quiet guy. We always pump him up, saying he's the man. And then obviously Cam and I being Aussies, we always we take the mickey out of people that we know as well. So it's a lot of banter. There's not a lot of serious talk at all. It's a lot of banter. So yeah, it's good fun.
During your time in Albuquerque, you were very involved in the community, and the community gave back to you a lot in your support of breast cancer, of course, with your mom suffering from cancer. Do you still involve yourself in breast cancer awareness and fundraising in Australia the way that you did in Albuquerque?
I'm trying to. I think that the success, and that's probably the reason I didn't start my fundraiser. I talked about it, didn't quite start to my senior year. You need to get, I don't know if trust, respect, you need to sort of build a name within the community. And obviously only just coming here to Adelaide and coming here to Australia, you sort of got to build that reputation in order for it to be successful. So still working to do that, but in the meantime, obviously going and visiting children's hospitals, the Women's Children's Hospital here as well, and my family and Tassie, whether we have a huge breast cancer event coming up. So obviously my end, getting memorabilia and different stuff from this club to auction off to raise money that way. But we've still got Pink Pack in the States, still trying to do a little things here and there. We had the Pink Game this year, and obviously Josie, my sister's still in the States, is still doing some good things as well. So like I said, I would love to do that again, but I just got to establish myself in the community to ensure to get the best out of it.
No question. Well, you're always a great ambassador for New Mexico and the Mountain West. We appreciate all you did for us, and good luck in your career as an Australian rules football player. We'll be watching for you and pulling for you.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it, mate. Thanks for having me.
You bet. That's Hugh Greenwood, former New Mexico Lobo star, now turned Australian rules football star. From the Mountain West Network studio, I'm Jesse Kurtz.